Islam family, can I tell you, it is so bright out here. God, Allah, is just kissing us with the beautiful, beautiful sun. It is beautiful, beautiful. I wore my cream turban today. Wait for a couple of seconds. Anyway, I'm not gonna wait. I don't have time. Islam family, Islam, peace and love. Well, I'm normally in the library at this particular time doing my Facebook lives because you just have a lot of background noise, so you have to kind of bear with me, family. This is Sharon Tracy Galbay, Moorish American Consulate, Vizier Judge, Mohammedan Judge, coming to you today to talk about procedures for if and when a Moorish American national is illegally and unlawfully detained by foreign policy enforcers in Morocco. That is what we're talking about today. And the reasons why these procedures and processes will come out later on today, if not tomorrow, and be uploaded to the file section of the northeast region of the Moorish American Consulate. Once I do a little bit more tweaking with it, and it'll be available for you to print out, download, and remember, as well as to so if you're ever violated by any foreigner as well as your family, you'll know exactly what information to compile in order to give the Moorish American Consulate, your consuls, the necessary information for us to spring into action to support you here in Morocco. All right, so I'm going to go over this pretty quickly, and if you have questions, please feel free to ask those questions. This is best practices need to include the following, and this is best practices for if and when you are illegally and unlawfully detained, which meaning held, being unable to travel continual because a foreign, corporate, colonial policy enforcer of the foreign colonial state is violating you. This is the procedure to follow. It's going to be enhanced, but I felt it very necessary for me to get this out there, because you need to know what information you need to make sure you compile in order to give us what it is that we need to assist you. And also remember, family, when you provide verification of your status, of your Moorish American national status with a Moorish American consulate, realize that it is not a contract. It is not you applying for anything. It's nothing. It means only that we at the Moorish American Consulate know that you have corrected your status on the record, in the record, and to be read to the record, if that made any sense. It is not something that you necessarily have to, what is the word I'm looking for? Rescind. If you don't want to be supported or to support the Moorish American Consulate, the only thing that you are required to do is nothing, because it's not a contract. It's not aligning yourself in any way, in any lawful capacity. We require this information from Moors because we cannot assist you in any lawful capacity if you have not first corrected your nationality and the MAC numbers. It's only a way for us to know that you have completed that process, family. It is not a contract. It's not us putting you in any trust. It is absolutely positively not binding whatsoever. Okay, family? Anyway, procedures for if you are ever detained as a Moorish American national by the foreign corporate colonial state in Morocco. All right? What is the first thing we are supposed to tell anyone and everyone when they ask us who we are? It is your fiduciary responsibility, your lawful duty, to state for the record, for information as to who it is you are. So if you are a Moorish American national, you have to state, I, Sharon Tracy Galbay, am a Moorish American national in Morocco. That is my status. And then the very next question would be, what is your status, and identify yourself. Most people are going to say, I am a U.S. citizen. There is no such thing. There is no such status, family. So documentation for them, if they want documentation from you, you have the lawful and fiduciary responsibility to ask the same for anyone and everyone, asking who you are. All right? When a Moorish American national is being detained at the police department of the corporate colonial foreign state, demand at the police department a printout of the charges for the Moorish American national who is being held. The Freedom of Information Act demand, based on the Freedom of Information Act, demand that they provide this information to anyone asking for it. It's public knowledge, it's public access, it's public law, and they are under the federal corporation of the United States. They're completely conjoined to that. And if they're trying to act as if they're not conjoined to it, then they're probably not supposed to be here, right? Especially if they don't look like us, y'all. The Freedom of Information Act, 5 U.S.C. subsection 552, is a federal freedom of information law that allows for the full and partial disclosure of previously unreleased information and documents controlled by the United States government. The Act defines agency records subject to disclosure, outline mandatory disclosure procedures, grants 9 exemptions to the statutes. This amendment was signed into law a long time ago, 1966, y'all. Again, Freedom of Information Act, 5 U.S.C. 552. If they need you to quote the law, that is the law. They are obligated because they are under the so-called federal corporate district of that foreign union claiming to be government. They're not your government, they're their government. Islam? So self-identity. You always have to say, I'm a Moorish American national. That's my status. I'm in Morocco, I'm a Moorish American national. Who are you? I should be asking that question to anybody who does not look like me. All right. Cause of action claim. Now, I have this in a grid, y'all. I'm going to show y'all what I have. If it'll show you. Oh, goodness. It's so bright out here. I don't think y'all can see it, y'all. I don't think y'all be able to see it. I just wanted to kind of show you what I was doing. But y'all can't see it. It's so bright out here. My apologies. The great God Allah wanted to kiss me very, very hard and passionately today. Anyway, cause of action claim. These are the fundamentals that you are required as a lawful, law-abiding Moorish American national. Who is violating me? Where am I being violated? What am I being violated for? When did this occur? Who is detaining me? And who do they report to? So the first is where. Second is who. Third is what. Fourth is when. Fifth is detained. Sixth is report. Okay, let's go over these individually. First is where. Where did the injury occur? In Morocco, we know this. Near what corporate colonial state? Who? Who injured you? Name all the accused. Status and nationality documentations demanded. Quote the law. Everybody has a name and a nationality, family. Everybody has it. Ain't nobody walking around blanks. Everybody has it. Even if they don't know it, they have it. They're either going to tell you what their nationality is, or they're going to tell you what corporate state they are wards of. One or the other. And if they are a ward of a corporate state, they ain't got no business talking to a national of Morocco in Morocco. All right, where was I at? So, this also includes family. If a so-called policy enforcer of the colonial corporate state pulls you over and there are another 7 vehicles that come on scene, they are all implicit, complicit, and involved because they are warring against you and they are also creating fear and intimidation. So they're all a part of that. Every last cruiser that comes to aid the fraud going on. So get all their names. Turn those cameras on. Take those pictures as much as you can. Do it. This is called compiling evidence for your cause of action claim. All right. Were there any witnesses to the injury? Are there any bystanders that are standing around witnessing it? And that includes people who might be in your conveyance with you. They are all witnesses. All of them need to draft an affidavit as to what occurred and who were the parties involved. So everybody should be compiling this information if they are there. What was the injury? Constitutional and treaty violations. You list them all. You list what violations what rights are being violated. The Treaty of Peace and Friendship, the one specifically you might want to remember are Article 6, Article 19, Article 20, Article 21, Article 22, and most importantly, Article 24. I'm going to repeat that, but I'm not going to read them specifically. Go to the file section of the Northeast Moorish American Consulate Court, and the file is there. I just uploaded it again, so you didn't have to go through all of the files because there are a wealth of information there to find this document. Again, the specific laws from the Treaty of Peace and Friendship that Moors need to memorize, know, be competent in is Article 6 of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, Article 19, Article 20, Article 21, Article 22, and Article 24 of the treaty, so you can know how you're being violated. After that, see, look, I'm all out of whack. Here we are. Now, constitutional violations of the United States Constitution, 1791, with its 10 parts. Bill of Rights. The Constitution for the United States of America, 1791, Bill of Rights. The amendments you need to know completely, be competent in, is Amendment 1, Amendment 4, Amendment 5, Amendment 6, Amendment 7, Amendment 8, Amendment 9, Amendment 10. They all outline what violations, what lawful violations these foreign, undocumented, without a nationality, wards of the corporate state are doing to you. Okay? Now, I don't want to go into detail about any particular one, but let me express. Article 4. You need to know that one. Like, you need to be able to spit that. That needs to be like the first thing you recite every morning and the last thing you recite every evening. Article 4. The rights of the people to be secure in their persons, that mean the body. Houses, that mean property where you domicile. Papers, that means whatever you have on your persons. And effects, whatever the hell that is, against unreasonable search and seizures. Which means they can't apprehend, they can't touch you, touch your property, touch your papers, take them, secure them, look at them, unless you give them permission and authorization to do such a thing. Without probable cause. Now, here's the probable cause. A Article 3 lawful judicial body with delegation of authority is the only individual, the only government, the only bodies that can issue any warrants to arrest a being or confiscate property. But it has to be in writing It has to tell you specifically who is to be detained, and specifically what place to be searched, and specifically what property to be taken. All right? What else? One of the things I wanted to talk about. So those are, I want to get this done. So those are the specific things. So that was what? What is being done to you, and what is the law that supports the violation? When? What's the date, y'all? When did it happen? What date? Christian calendar year, Moorish calendar year. Put that information down. Know that information. Detained. What corporate colonial institution were you or your familia taken? You need to know what corporate institution was responsible for the detainment. That means what so-called jail, so-called prison, so-called holding facility, so-called police department. They're going to know. You need to know where you're being taken or where your family has been taken. Now, reports. When I say reports, that means who do the particular individuals, the being that is violating you, who do they report to? What corporate colonial state do they report to? Who is the so-called magistrate, the so-called governor, the so-called mayor, the so-called archbishop of that foreign corporate colonial state? Who is it? Right? Who is the being? Policy enforcers report to a captain. That captain reports to their magistrate and their organizational structure family. That magistrate tells them who to go and detain. But the only thing the magistrate can tell them to detain is a corporate ward of their estate. You are not a corporate ward of their estate. You can never be. Law stops that from ever being a possibility, and slavery is illegal. So you'll never be a ward of their estate. Even if you don't know your nationality, that'll break your noodle. But law treats two people in their national capacity. So law can't spring into action if you can't state for the record who you are. So you always have to state for the record who you are in terms of nationality. Because people come from nations, come from navels of their mother's womb. Right? Now, let's talk about the bullshit that you got to deal with. Because the realities are, they know we're coming. And they know what we're doing. And they know everything they're doing is fraudulent. Warring against the people, warring against the nation, warring against all lawful and legal documents, warring against warring against everybody. For real, for real. They know they're doing that. So here's how they try to circumvent that process. Now, everybody has a straw. That straw was created when you were born. Your mother didn't create it. It was fraudulently placed upon you, and you have been identifying unlawfully and unknown in that status. And that's where the Social Security, the birth certificate comes from. But these are not binding things to you at all. These are just ways they have used to usurp your status, your body, your property, your estate, your land, even your government, right? So they'll put you in a system, in their system, as the corporate ward that does not identify you. Because how are people identified? When I tell you who I am, that's me identifying to you. You cannot go look into no database to try to find something that is in your database to adhere or to attach to the natural being. The corporation, you're trying to attach to the natural being so you can put them in your status, align them with your fraudulent corporate jurisdiction. That is what they're doing. So let me make that as an example. John Doe. John Doe is a corporate ward that was born and given a birth certificate fraudulently and a Social Security fraudulently, thinking that they had to use those documents in order to navigate within their ancestral land in Morocco. All right. John Doe realizes that that's not how natural beings are identified, and John Doe declared and proclaimed his Moorish nationality, and now his name is John Doe L. Okay, so now when the policy enforcer or the corporate wards of the corporate colonial state pulls you over and tries to arrest you and detain you, now they got to figure out who they're going to put you in the system as, right? They know they can't put you in the system as John Doe L because they don't have jurisdiction. So they're going to have to put something different. So they're going to go look and find, either through some type of trace within their database, which what might be a fingerprints from you applying for a job, applying for any type of governmental affiliations of their corporate state, anything. They're going to look and see and trace to try to find who they think you are, even though they're ignoring the fact that you stated for the record and you produced documentation verifying that fact. So they're tampering with evidence, family, because you told them who you were and you showed them who you were, and nothing within their database can contradict that. It's fraud, family. So they'll go into their system, try to find a corporate ward that matches you, and then book you based on that corporate ward. But you're stating for the record exactly who you are, and they're violating you because you done told them who you are. They knew you were outside of their jurisdiction, and they ignored every law that gave them protection to even be in Morocco. So they're warring against the government, they're warring against the Moroccan state, and they're warring against the Aboriginal indigenous people, violating every law ever created with agreements with them. And if they do put it in the system, which they will hold off on the paperwork, so you won't know who are the offending bodies, family. They're trying to hide the fact that this policy enforcers that's frauding to be a government official, that's frauding to be a part of a actual governmental state, which they are not. They are only affiliated as wards of the corporate colonial state. So when you go there to go find out where your family member is, they're not giving you the information that you seek. This is why they're not filing your stuff. This is why they're not applying your stuff to the so-called cases. This is why they're putting you in their system as that ward, because they know they ain't got no freaking jurisdiction or authority to do the fraud and human trafficking and slavery and warring against the state, warring against the government, warring against the very Aboriginal indigenous people of the land. They know they're doing illegal activities, and they don't have anything backing them judicially to do it. As consuls, we should be addressing the chief of the police department. If not available, the next in command, which should be the lieutenant. And if not available, whomever is speaking in their place with authority to speak and to act. If there is no one there with authority to act, then they should not be processing or proceeding in any capacity because they don't have the authority, jurisdiction to do it. An assistant, a worker, a policy enforcer cannot run any corporate governmental facility. An individual with the authority and the delegated responsibility by their people up above are the ones that are supposed to be within that building at all times in order to transact business in all situations. If there's nobody with the authority, they got to close up shop, close the door, say we're closed for the day till we have a lawful person to come here and transact the business, because we don't have the authority or the ability to do it on our own. If there is no one with the authority to act, then they should not be proceeding in any capacity because they are not authorized without the head. The names of the policy enforcers involved in the initial detainment and cause of the detainment. Affidavits from those parties which they'll try and say is in the incident report that they will attempt to charge you. Federal Reserve notes. Now here go the Clearfield Doctrine case for which will be available. That is available. in the file section where it talks about if you want to use Federal Reserve notes is against the Constitution, and since Federal Reserve notes is against the Constitution because lawful money is in gold and silver and is backed by gold and silver, you have reduced yourself in any, if you had at that particular time any lawful or governmental capacity or status, you now lost it because you've asked for an unlawful form of financial exchange. That's what the Clearfield Doctrine literally is telling you. If you ask for Federal Reserve notes for a transfer, an action, you don't have the authority in terms of any governmental capacity because you are violating the very thing that gave you the authority. You're in breach of trust. Print out the documents outlining international law, which is the Vienna Convention on Consular Affairs, which explains how nationals are to be handled when detained in foreign venues. But here's the reality. Individuals of a national capacity are outside of your jurisdiction, and the only thing that would even give you want of jurisdiction would be if you were like literally punching somebody, killing somebody, beating somebody, ran over somebody, causing harm to the public. That would only be the only thing giving them sanction or authority to do anything in regards to nationals. Verification of Moorish status of detained Moors, along with identification of consuls for the Moorish American consulate, needs to be when we're coming to these foreign venues. This entire communication needs to be held with the heads of that department, which is the captain or the lieutenant. The sheriff department, the elected sheriff department, or deputy with delegation of authority needs to be the first notified because that individual need and should be present. And here's the crazy part, family. Most sheriffs that are elected of that corporate jurisdiction usually are heading up the police department. They're usually either the captain or whatever is above the captain of that corporate colonial state. They are the ones that need to be contacted, called in all situations dealing with nationals, because that is the only, like, I guess, interceder that is lawful, but only lawful to tell their people to stand down. That's the law. That's the extent of their lawfulness. Meaning, I'm contacting you, this sheriff's department, because I need you to come down to this police department because they're detaining a Moorish American national. That Moorish American national has given them the information that they needed to verify that, and they're holding him without just cause and lawful authority. And I need you to come down there and get them to do their job. And if they violate, meaning if they don't do it, then they are in breach of trust, and they no longer can carry the badges or the titles of sheriff. You're only in these lawful capacities while you're doing your lawful duty. If you don't do your lawful duty, you are in breach of that trust, and you are no longer that being lawfully. So when if they violating, they are now a regular peasant. Literally a regular peasant or a ward. They are now literally at the bottom where all of their other wards are, trying to act like they're somebody that they're not. Now, I have pending consuls. We're going to have a meeting next week, trying to figure out how to get that together. There's certain information that I need compiled, and I don't really have the time to compile it myself. So, for all of those wanting commission consuls, this first Tuesday in August, when I plan on commissioning consuls after they get this specific information and this specific training completed, I need the following: the name of the head of the organizations of these following corporate, colonial, foreign states. Mailing location, fax number, phone number, email address, website, all in a in an Excel or an equivalent type of Excel document so I can manipulate it. of the 50 corporate colonial foreign states for the sheriff's departments of the 50 foreign estates, colonial estates, the governor of the 50 corporate colonial foreign estates, the archbishops of the 50 corporate colonial foreign estates. I need that information because I don't want to keep looking for it. And you need to know who these individual natural beings are. You need to know who they are. And we need to know who they are. And we need to be able to spring in action without having to take time looking for things. And if you want to be a consul, this is part of consul training, being able to compile, organize, and provide information that we need as a member of your government. Right? Something else I wanted to say. Listen, family. The Pope, who all of these wards, these corporate wards, are subject to, distinguished all their licenses, all of their authority, distinguished it all, family, in the General Orders Letter. The General Civil Orders Letter from July 4th, 2014, extinguished it all. So all of the activity going on is all fraudulent because they no longer have the so-called attorney's license. They no longer have any of that authority that they at one point under that governmental body had in Morocco. They no longer have it. It's been ceded back to the people. They've been literally saying, look, y'all foreign to Morocco. Y'all no longer have attachments in terms of authority through the Pope and the Vatican. And anything you do after this trustee or after this papal bull or motu proprio, after this lawful document that has been sent to you and published in a multitude of venues, anything you do is going to be a specific violation on everything you have, everything you think you own, and it's going to automatically mean you are warring against the place that gave you safe refuge, safe haven, and protection, and you're going to be evicted from Morocco. But here's the thing. You've dissolved all of that. You've dissolved, as the Vatican, you've dissolved all of their authority in any capacity aligning them to even your jurisdiction. But you left them here. You left them here to continue to do business in our land. We need you to assist us with getting your wards under control and back in your dominions. So you need to assist us with that. Because it's not enough to just say, okay, y'all can't do that no more. It's not enough. You need to assist us with getting them back in control, back on their colonies and outside and out of our Moroccan territory. So assist us with that. We're here, we're open, and we're able to receive you. Islam family? No questions? I got all mutes. Y'all just sitting there. Y'all ain't saying nothing. I'm surprised. Not one comment. Islam family. But it's hot. The sun is kissing me so pleasantly. It's beautiful though. And I'm done with my broadcast. I'm going to do some tweaking to this document. And then after that tweaking and the changes are made, I will upload it to the file section for you to be able to print out at your leisure. But remember, family, the first thing you are required, and it is your fiduciary responsibility, is to identify yourself. You got to say, yes, I'm Sharon Tracy Galbay, Moorish American National in Morocco. You're pulling me over, you're detaining me unlawfully. Who are you? State your name and nationality for the record. And if they state they are a ward of a corporate colonial state, if they state that they are a ward of a corporate colonial estate, they are telling you, matter of factly, they don't have jurisdiction to detain you. Matter of factly. Peace and love, family. I love you, Sue. I love you dearly. It's Thursday, the day of Jupiter. And I'm going to go eat now because I'm hungry. And if you are in desire of being a commissioned consul of the Moorish American Consulate, I need those documents compiled for me with that information in an Excel spreadsheet. Governor, Archbishop, Sheriff of the 50 corporate colonial foreign states. You can email it to ne@moorishamericanconsulate.com, and I will thank you for that. And Islam family, peace and love. Stay breezy. Peace and love, family.